So I tend to have a heavy hand when I'm cooking. How can I fix a dish if I've over-sweetened it, over-salt, over-spice?
Well, I think the first thing to mention is you can always put in half the amount that you think, right?
For the spicing, right?
Yeah, for the spicing,
Use
for the
less.
salting,
Right.
for the sweetening. Always put in half what you think and then taste it and be like, yeah, it needs some more. And then you can add the rest.
Yeah, you can go up from there.
It is harder to take it out, of course, right? But I do have some graphs together. So you can add some lemon juice. You can add some lime juice. So if something's too sweet, you want to sort of balance that sweetness out. So, of course, the acidity helps to balance it. Yogurt is another one that will work, and olive oil. So depending on what it is that you're making. The other alternative, of course, is to put more volume into what you made, right? So you can add more of whatever it is that you started with. If you overspice something, what you want to do is add some honey. So the sweetness of the honey will actually balance out that spice. And if you oversalt something, this is probably the hardest one to get around, but if you oversalt something, vinegar will tone down that saltiness.
I like my steak medium rare, and I know that you're supposed to touch a portion of your palm to figure out like how it should feel on the steak. My whole hand feels about the same.
About the same.
So I can...
What you're talking about is this, my darling. The first finger is supposed to be rare. The second finger, touching the thumb, is supposed to be medium rare. The next is medium, and the next is well done, right? So all that really is doing is saying as the firmness of the protein, because you'll be touching your steak, as it gets firmer, it becomes more cooked, right? Or as it becomes more cooked, it gets firmer. The truth is, depending on the heat, depending on the thickness of the steak, is it a bone-in, bone-out steak? It all is a little different. I think the best way for you to get good at cooking steak is buy them relatively thin. I'm talking like an inch and a half or so thick.
Yes.
Buy the same one, right, until you get good at it. So maybe it's a ribeye, maybe it's a New York strip, whatever you like. Have a really hot pan, or even on the grill, but you get that caramelization, so you get that golden brown on both sides. Remove it from the heat and allow it to rest, right? And that's the important part. Now, if it's thin enough, it might be ready to eat straight away. So it might only need a minute and a half on either side. If it's a little thicker, you want to put it back for another 30 seconds or 45 seconds on either side. But then that resting part is really important because it's going to allow that steak, it's called carryover cooking, so the heat continues to travel through the protein to get through to the middle. So you'll get that nice even pink.
And the juice kind of resettles.
Right.
Yeah.
I would tell you even more, go out and buy a digital thermometer and put it inside that baby in 125 degrees all day long. It's medium rare. You'll never make a mistake. So
digital thermometers are
You
great
will make
too.
a mistake if you overcook. You'll say, oh, it's 140. Oh, it's medium well. I don't like. So you'll know it says 125 all day long is medium rare.
Okay,
There you go.
great. Thank